Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm pleased to rise today to join the debate on Bill C-19, the ending of the Long Gun Registry Act. This is an important issue that has been very important in my riding of Cumberland, Colchester, and the Musquodoboit Valley. In fact, last fall I presented a petition before this House signed by thousands of members of my riding, all of whom wanted the government to scrap the wasteful and ineffective Long Gun Registry. I also want to note that our office did a survey on this very issue within our riding, and again, the constituents of Cumberland, Colchester, and the Musquodoboit Valley spoke loudly and clearly. Of 2,600 people who responded to the survey, 2,200 of those said they wanted the Long Gun Registry scrapped. So when I speak today, I feel I'm honestly and fairly representing the views and wishes of my constituents. And I wonder if the honourable members across the floor who represent rural ridings can say the same. And I'll come back to that point a little later. Let me tell you a bit about Cumberland, Colchester, and the Musquodoboit Valley, the area that I'm so proud to represent. It is a beautiful part of northern Nova Scotia. It's a rural riding with the largest community of 12,000, and families there have a wonderful tradition of enjoying Canada's outdoor heritage. And now, you may know, as an educator by profession, I've spent many years working to help young people become responsible citizens and lead healthy and rewarding lives. I'm happy to say that thousands of young people in the riding enjoy hunting and fishing as part of healthy outdoor living. And being close to nature is one of the great benefits of living in the rural parts of our country. And those are also activities that families enjoy together and which are part of growing up in these rural communities. That is one of the reasons that there is so much opposition to the Long Gun Registry in communities that I represent. Law-abiding hunters, farmers, and fishermen for whom responsible long gun ownership is the norm are being made to feel that there is some questionable aspect about their lifestyle simply because they own a firearm. They feel that they are being penalized for a way of life by a far-off threat of illegal handguns in urban areas. And this is both wrong and unfair. It is something I hear about on a daily basis from those who live and work in my riding. I also hear a great deal about the wastefulness of the Long Gun Registry. And this is something I've spoken about in the past and something I'll continue to speak about in the future. As a conservative and a taxpayer, I find the cost of the Long Gun Registry to be unacceptable. When this was first introduced by the previous Liberal government, Canadians were told the cost would not be more than $2 million. Today, we are looking at costs that are as high as $2 billion. Canadians have been made to bear the cost of this bureaucratic exercise, and yet it delivers no tangible benefits to prevent crime or help frontline officer safety. In fact, there is a fundamental disconnect between what the Long Gun Registry was created to do and what it actually does. And we know the Long Gun Registry was set up with the intention to prevent gun crime. Yet, we know that by their very nature, criminals do not follow the rule of law, and they certainly don't register their firearms. In the years during which it's been in effect, the Long Gun Registry has failed to do anything to actually prevent criminals from picking up a firearm and using it in a crime. It has no preventative capacity whatsoever. In fact, despite hearing from many of my honourable colleagues across the floor about how they believe the Long Gun Registry saves lives, I do not believe we presented with any evidence that helps in this manner. So the result over the years has been a large and wasteful and ineffective exercise that has done nothing to prevent crimes from occurring, but has done a great deal to burden law-abiding hunters, farmers, and sport shooters. It's bad policy, Mr. Speaker, which is why our government is moving to scrap the Long Gun Registry once and for all. Let me be clear, Mr. Speaker, about what Bill C-19 actually does and what it doesn't do. The ending of the Long Gun Registry Act will remove the requirement for law-abiding hunters, farmers, and sport shooters from registering their unrestricted long guns. We will also ensure that the data has been collected as part of this registry will be destroyed and will not be made available for creating another Long Gun Registry. Our government has made a commitment to scrap the Long Gun Registry, and it's exactly what we are doing. Throughout this debate, I've seen many of the members opposite try to confuse this issue. Many members have incorrectly suggested that by ending the Long Gun Registry, we will somehow weaken gun control in Canada. Mr. Speaker, there is simply no evidence to back up that claim. The Long Gun Registry has nothing to do with licensing or the control of restricted and prohibited firearms. The rules and regulations surrounding those type of firearms will remain unchanged. To close, Mr. Speaker, let me remind the honourable members as we enter November, it's the start of hunting season. And for many years, throughout many hunting sessions, members of constituencies like mine have waited patiently for the end of the wasteful and ineffective Long Gun Registry, and thousands of Canadians both in my riding and across the country, are waiting for action from their members of Parliament on this issue. Specifically, they're waiting to see how members on both sides of the House will vote on this legislation. And that's why I'm calling on members of this House, who come from constituencies like mine, to do the right thing and vote in support of Bill C-19. When we vote on this issue, I'll be voting on behalf of the constituents of my riding. I have a responsibility to those who elected me, and I hope that all other honourable members will respect those who elected them and will do the same. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Question et commentaire. L'honorable député de Alfred Pellin.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. J'ai bien apprécié le discours de mon collègue d'en face, surtout quand il est arrivé au moment où il a parlé du coût du registre des armes à feu. Comme on sait tous actuellement, le registre des armes à feu était supposé coûter seulement 2 millions de dollars, finalement coûter 2 milliards de dollars à mettre en place. Aujourd'hui, je ne sais pas si mon collègue d'en face le sait, mais le registre des armes à feu coûte environ 10 sous par jour par constituant, par commettant. C'est moins qu'une tasse de café par jour pour le maintenir en place. S'il veut le scraper, comme il dit si bien de l'autre côté, ça nous coûterait encore un autre 2 milliards de dollars. Il ne trouve pas ça plus cher que juste de garder les données pour qu'on puisse les réutiliser dans nos provinces?
The honourable member for Cumberland, Colchester, Musquodoboit Valley.
Well, I want to thank the honourable member across the way for her question. And on the cost of the Long Gun Registry, we've heard a lot of rhetoric before. When the Long Gun Registry was created, the creator of it was Alan Rock. And he said, and I quote, "Let us not hear that the registration system will cost us $100 per firearm. Let us not hear that it is a prelude to confiscation of government of hunting rifles and shotguns. And let us not try to contend that it will cost $1.5 billion to put this in place. That is a way to distort the discussion, and that is just a way to frighten people." Now, that was Alan Rock. He said it would cost $2 million. And he said when he was accused that it would cost $1.5 billion, he said, that is ridiculous. Well, you know what? He was right, because it didn't cost $1.5 billion. It cost the Canadian taxpayer $2 billion.
Questions and comments? Questions and comments? The honourable member for Nickel Belt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm glad that the honourable member was speaking about waste, so I'd like him to comment on this, this conservative waste. Ongoing $2 billion subsidy to the oil patch, $2 billion for G8, for a fake lake, for gazebos, for sidewalks that go nowhere, for an arena that was never used, $3 billion of the stimulus money that was put into the Treasury Board for discriminatory funds, and the Conservatives spent $130 million of taxpayers' money to advertise. Can the honourable member comment on this type of waste?
Honourable member for Cumberland, Colchester, Musquodoboit Valley.
Well, Mr. Speaker, you know that our focus as a government is on jobs and growth. And we've invested millions and billions of dollars from one end of this country to the other to make sure that we escape from the largest recession since the Great Depression. And we've invested, and I stand up in favor of those investments because they have led Canada to be the strongest nation in the world when it comes to debt to GDP ratio. So before the NDP criticize this government for the way we are tackling jobs and growth in this country, they should first look at some of their own different initiatives, like increasing taxes on job creators across this country. Their increase of taxes will destroy the future of this economy. And you know what? On the Long Gun Registry, all you have to do is ask the government of Manitoba, the NDP government of Manitoba, who stands solidly behind the elimination of the Long Gun Registry.
Question et commentaire. Questions and comments? The honourable member for Nickel Belt.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm glad again that the honourable member mentioned Manitoba. With this legislation, they're going to destroy all of the data. Why wouldn't this government let the provinces like Quebec and Manitoba use that data to form their own gun registry instead of wasting $2 billion to destroy it? Talk about tax waste.
Honourable member for Cumberland, Colchester, Musquodoboit Valley.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the member opposite for his question. You know, there are many people in this country that believe that the Long Gun Registry is only a step in the path to eliminate private ownership of firearms. And many people believe that. But let me tell you what Alan Rock did say. He said, and this is in April of 25th of 1994, when I came to Ottawa with the firm belief the only people in this country should own and have guns are police officers and soldiers. That's what the Long Gun Registry could lead to. That's what many people in this country fear. Also, for people in rural parts of this nation, Liberal Senator Sharon Carstairs said, the registering of hunting rifles is the first step to social re-engineering of Canadians. Well, thank you very much. We don't need someone like her to re-engineer us in rural parts of this country.